I bet you guys can't guess what my W. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video on my full month of nothing new. Today's video is going to be a fun one because we are doing a tag video. I will be sharing with you guys my favorite makeup products from A to Z. My friend Jen Phelps here on YouTube did this tag a couple of weeks ago and I thought it was so much fun. I really wanted to squeeze it in this month. Basically, you pick one product or brand out for each letter of the alphabet, so that is what we are doing today. I have got a lot of makeup here. I'm gonna try my very hardest not to talk too much about these products. Most of them you've probably heard me talk about before. Before we get into the makeup products, special welcome to any of you that are new to my channel. I hope that you enjoy this one. Of course, if you do, be sure to subscribe before you leave, and let's get right into it. So in Jen's video, which I will link down below, she did specific makeup brands for each letter of the alphabet, but I'm gonna kind of do a combination of brands and products because some of these I had to really reach for. But of course, we're starting with the letter A, and this one was tricky because I had a couple of runners up. I wanted to pick my ABH shadows. Those were in the running. Also, my Alamar Cosmetics Reina del Caribe palette was in the running, but I ended up going with the Alter Ego palettes in general. So this one I am picking just this brand. Now, this is a relatively new brand to me that I've tried out over the last, I think it was a month or just over a month ago that I first was introduced to this brand. These palettes were all sent to me, but this is one of the brands that I put on my list of brands to try in the year 2020. And these have completely blown my mind. The shadows are incredible. Of course, the color stories are not their own. These are all meant to dupe a Natasha Denona palette. So let's give the credit to Natasha Denona for these beautiful color stories. But if you can't afford Natasha Denona shadows, which I know many of us cannot, I love that there's an affordable option out there, and these are really fantastic. So this one right here is the Aurora palette, which is meant to dupe the Sunrise palette, which I do own the original Natasha Denona of this one. One of my favorites is the Sahara, which is meant to dupe the Biba palette, which I do not own, but I absolutely love this one right here. Very beautiful neutral color story. The Goddess palette right here is meant to dupe the Natasha Denona Gold palette. And the price difference we're talking is significant. I mean, these smaller palettes are $16. The original Natasha Denona of this one is $129, whereas the original Natasha Denona Sunrise palette, which is the smaller palette, is $65 versus the $16. So either way you break it down, you are saving a lot of money. This one right here, I did just feature in a recent video. This is the Artemis palette, which is meant to dupe the Metropolis palette. And I absolutely love this one. I've really been enjoying playing with this. I know I've talked a lot about these recently. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about them, but I just am so thoroughly impressed with these. The packaging of these, I mean, holding these four palettes together, it's like a 5-pound weight. These are very well made. They're sturdy. I mean, they look like cardboard packaging, but they feel like the Tati Beauty palette. Can't say enough good things about these. They're amazing. For the letter B, I ended up going with these right here. These are the blushes from Essence. I've been a longtime fan of the Essence blushes. The Satin Touch blushes, which I don't know that you can buy those in store anymore. I still love those blushes, but these are kind of their new version of those little blushes. They're a little bit different formula. They are amazing. These are fantastic. $2.99 for each of these, and they are just such a beautiful formula. I think by far my favorite one would have to be this one, which is Befitting. Just a really nice color for, I think, pretty much any skin tone could get away with wearing this. I also love the color Bespoke. If you like a blush that's kind of a bronzer blush hybrid, it's kind of like a rosy bronzer, this one. This one is also a little bit shimmery. The other one is not. It is a matte, but this one you could put on your cheeks and have it be your blush, your bronzer, and your highlight all in one. I just don't know that these can be beat at the drugstore. For the price and the formula, they're incredible. For the letter C, I went with the Candid Concealers from Revlon. I've been talking about these like crazy. Again, you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about these, but I just love this concealer. It works so well for me. So the shades that I use are the shade 005. This one is very light for me right now, but I sometimes will put just a tiny bit of this on my under eye. Right now, the shade number 25 and 30 both work really well for me. I think 30 has a little bit more yellow to it. It actually looks like 25 is a little bit darker. These are very similar in shade on my skin. I can use them kind of interchangeably. And of course, I can mix the two together when I need something in between. So these are great. You get quite a bit of product inside here. You get 0.33 ounces, and they're only like $7. I mean, that's a really great price for an amazing drugstore concealer. For the letter D, I have another eyeshadow palette. Let me just warn you guys, there's a lot of eyeshadow palettes in here today. I went with the Double Entendre palette by ColourPop. This palette has been around for a long time, but it is relatively new to me. I've only had it for about 6 or 7 months, but the more I use this, the more it grows on me. And let me tell you guys, when this palette especially grew on me is after using the Natasha Denona bronze palette. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like the Natasha Denona bronze palette, but some of the things I felt like that palette was missing, I realized you get inside this palette. While this one doesn't give you as many bronze options, you get some perfect bronzes in here, and you get a better range from dark to light as well, which is what I felt like the Natasha Denona bronze palette was missing. So that, and considering the price difference, I just think this is such a great palette. If you like warm, bronzy shadows, this is a warm, bronze shadow dream. For the letter E, I'm going with just one brand, and that is the brand Elf. When I was going through my makeup, I initially just picked out this little brow duo right here because for $4, you can get these two products, a $2 brow pencil, a $2 brow gel that I think work perfectly fine. Now, I'm not a brow expert, but I've been repurchasing these for many years. And even after trying a lot of higher end brow products, I still come back to these time and time again. But then I started thinking about some of Elf's other products, their concealer, their bite-sized eyeshadow palettes, their bronzers and blushes. And I just realized, you know, Elf is a brand that has come a long way. Now, they are one of the first brands that really got me into makeup in the first place. So there's a little nostalgia there as well, which is why I picked kind of the brand in general. They have so many great products at such great prices. They're continually trying to reinvent and improve their products and make new products and make their products better. But they also do it in a way that I don't think is too overwhelming. So I just think they're a great brand. They've been one of my favorite affordable brands for a long time, and I just felt like I had to give them a little shout out today. For the letter F, I narrowed it down to kind of a tie, and they're both from Flower Beauty. Now, I believe that Jen also picked two different products from Flower Beauty. She picked their lipsticks and blushes. I absolutely love both of those products as well, but my love for these two might be even greater. The Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation and the Jungle Lights eyeshadow palette. Let's start with the foundation. This has long been one of my favorite foundations. I think I tried this well over a year ago, and I continually come back to this thing time and time again. I love the way it looks and feels on my skin. The packaging feels very high-end. I wear the shade Nude L3, which is a tiny bit light for me in the summertime, but I can get away with wearing this even in the summer, and I sometimes will combine it with a darker shade of this, which I do have. I don't think everyone would love this foundation because it is quite hydrating and a little bit dewy, but it's perfect for my dry skin. Now, the Jungle Lights palette. This thing is beautiful. If you like a shimmery lid, I am telling you guys, this has everything that you would ever need as far as a shimmery lid color goes. I mean, look at these shades. They are just spectacularly beautiful. I absolutely love these. The formula of these are quite creamy. They do remind me, and I've said this many times, a lot of the Hourglass Scattered Light shadows. So much more affordable though, and I love that these are actually in a palette form. If you have a solid matte palette that you love, and I do have one that we'll be talking about in a little bit, and combine it with this, it's a match made in heaven. For the letter G, I picked the ColourPop Going Coconuts palette. Now, the reason that I picked this palette and the Double Entendre palette is I feel like this palette is for the person that thinks the Double Entendre is a little bit too warm for them. So if you are someone that only likes neutral or cool tones, this is a fantastic palette for that very person. It is difficult to find a truly neutral palette that doesn't lean either on the warm or the cool side, but this one is exactly that. It is not warm, but it is not cool. It is right there in between. Now, I have heard from a few of you that have more medium to deep skin say that this palette doesn't really show up very well on you. So I will add that this is probably better suited for someone with medium to light skin, but there's a perfect range in here from light to dark, some beautiful shimmers for the lid, and some great transition shades in here. The only thing I think could be improved upon in this palette is if it actually smelled like coconuts. It doesn't smell like anything, but I may be alone on an island, get it, in my love for scented makeup products. For the letter H, I have another set of eyeshadow palettes, and I have to go with the Huda Obsessions palettes. Now, I have quite a few of these, but I think these would have to be my very favorites. First off, the Nude Light palette. This is a beautiful and unique, it's almost a pastel neutral palette. I love these subtle pastels that you get in here, but these shades along the top row here are much more neutral, so you can get a really nice neutral eye look that just has a bit of interest to it. I always love those kind of looks. I love the formula of Huda's eyeshadows. I think they're absolutely beautiful. This is the Mauve Obsessions, which I also really, really love. I especially love the deep shades inside here, particularly these two corner shades, this deep, deep plum and this deep, deep, it's like a red velvet. I mean, seriously, it's like red velvet cake. I love these shades. They are beautiful. They're nice and compact, and I just love that there's 9 shades in here. I think there's something about a 9-shade palette, when it's done right, that gives you a good amount of variety, and considering how tiny these are, they're perfect. Back in the day when I used to travel, these were some of my very favorites to take traveling with me. Someday, I dream. Letter I ended up going with the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. Now, this is my, well, It is possibly my favorite high-end mascara. There's one that I've tried recently that's kind of giving it a run for its money, but I do really love this. I'm actually wearing this one today. It just gives you really quick, dramatic, very, very black lashes. It's a mascara that does not need 2 coats. In fact, I think this mascara, you can't really do 2 coats with this mascara because things get very intense very quickly. And I love that for when I'm in a hurry. It wears really well on me. It doesn't flake or smudge, but it also removes very easily at night. I just think it's such a great mascara. For the letter J, I have another brand I had to pick. I think of all the brands of eyeshadows, probably the one that is like my top brand, you probably can guess, is Juvia's Place. I love my Juvia's Place palettes deeply. I love the packaging, I love the price. I know I talk about them all the time. These are 3 of my favorites. I'm not going to list them in any particular order because I do have a ranking video coming up from Juvia's Place this month. I especially love these 3 palettes right here. The Nomad palette right here. You guys know how much I've raved about this thing. It is stunning. If you like interesting kind of grungy greens, you will love this palette. It has one of my favorite lid shades in the center. I mean, look at that champagne gold. It's so pretty. Love the yellows and oranges in here too, and these kind of pukey greens. Love me a pukey green. The Magic Mini I've talked about many times. It is such a fun, colorful palette. If you don't mind dabbling in color, this one gives you so many fun options. This is a palette I love to pair with maybe a more neutral palette. It unlocks so much potential, but even on its own, you can use this palette alone to create some really beautiful looks. And then of course my Nubian 2 palette. This is another beautiful palette that is mostly neutral. I mean, if you take out basically that blue right there, maybe the green, it's a very beautiful neutral palette. You get some beautiful bronzes, some golds, you get a great transition shade in here, a perfect champagne, some deep browns, and even a deep kind of plum shade. It is beautiful. You will never run out of these shadows because look at these pan sizes. I mean, they are so ginormous. I will forever be a Juvia's Place fan. I just think they do eyeshadows so well. For the letter K, I surprisingly did not find a ton of products in my collection that started with the letter K, but I came across this one and I have mentioned it in a few different favorites video. It is the Kosas Cream and Highlight Duo in the shade 8th Muse. I bought this on the recommendation of Jessica Braun, and I kind of feel like I have her to thank and this product to thank for opening my eyes up to the beauty of cream blushes and liquid blushes. I have a hard time using a powder blush because I just miss the glossiness and dewiness of a cream or a liquid blush. This is a great one too because it actually sort of sets down. It doesn't dry down to a powder, but it sets. It's very, very long wearing for a cream blush. It's very easy to apply. I usually will just put a little bit on my finger and then I'll either tap it right onto my cheek, or if I have maybe spots that I'm worried about uncovering, sometimes I'll just wipe it onto the back of my hand, then use a stippling brush and just kind of build it onto my cheek. But I love these. The texture of a cream blush, especially if you have drier, more mature skin, I'm telling you guys, there's just something very, very, very special about it. But for the next one, the letter L, I have something that might even surpass the Kosas blush. The letter L, I went with a liquid blush. I know that I'm kind of stretching here. This is the Juicy Pink Water Blusher from the brand Apu, but A was already taken and J was already taken. I know that kind of breaks the rules, but I had to put this somewhere. I absolutely love this blush. Again, this is one thing that I've been talking about quite a bit over the last couple of months. The one I have is in the shade Guava, which is kind of like a dusty golden pink is kind of how I would describe it. It is so beautiful. It has the slightest touch of warmth to it. This is one of those shades that I feel like goes with anything because it has that kind of gold shift in it. It goes with a warm eye look, but because it is pink, it goes with a cool eye look. It just looks so natural and healthy on the cheeks. Now, if you have medium to deep skin, I don't know that this shade will show up a whole lot on you, but they do have other shades. I am still waiting to pick some of those up. But above all, the formula of this is just beautiful. I love applying this either with my fingers or with a stippling brush. I have tried it with a sponge. I've tried it with a denser brush, and I don't really like either of those application methods. I think a finger or a stippling brush is the way to go. But you guys, look at that glossy, beautiful sheen. Somehow this stays kind of glossy looking on your cheeks, but it doesn't feel sticky throughout the day, yet it doesn't wear off very quickly, which I don't understand how it does it. It's kind of a magical formula, but I absolutely love it. In fact, I would say that and just liquid and cream blushes in general over the last year have been one of the greatest discoveries of 2020 for me. And kind of in that same thing, for the letter M, I went with my Milk Makeup Bronzer Stick. This stuff is just incredible. The more I use it, the more I love it, and the more I just don't want to use anything else. I love lately putting a lighter amount of this on and then adding a powder bronzer or contour on top. I just feel like it locks in place all day long. It survives through the heat of summer. This stuff is just incredible. I love applying this with a dense brush. I typically use my complexion brush by Moda. I think it's their Mythical set, the ones that look like a unicorn. But it's basically a small version of a dense foundation brush. That's how I like to apply this. I know a lot of people use a stippling brush. I've tried it that way and it does work, but I just prefer something a little bit more dense. But just the formula of this and its longevity, how easy it is to apply and to blend it's incredible. For the letter N, I went with the Natasha Denona Safari palette. I featured this in a favorites video several months ago. I now actually own two dupes for this palette, which I had before I actually owned the original, and I'm so happy to have the original. I do think it is a little bit better than the dupe palettes. However, I would never pay $120 for this. I did get this at 50% off, so it was still quite pricey. It was $65, which for me is worth it as a huge Natasha Denona fan, and just as I've been a longtime fan of this color story. But if you don't have it in the budget, I'm telling you guys, the one from C Color and from Folklore Cosmetics are both fantastic. They may not be quite as pigmented as this one, the packaging may not be as nice, but for the price difference, they are absolutely worth it in my opinion. But still, this palette has a special place in my heart. I love it. Look at this packaging. I mean, this is like one of my favorite colors in the whole world. It's such a beautiful palette, and really like every matte shade you would ever want is inside here. For the letter O, I ended up going with the Ofra highlighter. This is the one in collaboration with Samantha March. This is her Start inspired highlighter. Mine is all mangled because I did drop it and have to repress it, but this is such a beautiful highlighter. I have not tried any of their other highlighters, but I just really love their formula. It's super intense, but it's very, very smooth looking somehow. This is actually a mix of two of their other highlighters, Pillow Talk and Star Island. One is kind of more of a golden yellow, one's a light pink. This is how they look swatched together. I'm crossing my fingers so as not to flip you guys off. I don't know why I swatched this on my middle finger, but it is so, so beautiful. I think Samantha did such a great job. Also, the rest of her collection is beautiful as well. The only thing I haven't tried yet is her blush, which I've been dying to try, but the bronzer is great. Her lip duo is so stunning, but I think the one I love more than any is the highlighter. For the letter P, I have another brand, an entire brand, and I'm going with Persona Cosmetics. I have tried nearly everything, or something at least from every category from Persona's brand, and I have never found something that didn't just absolutely wow me. Probably above everything else is her Original Identity palette. It is absolutely incredible, beautiful color story, fantastic formula, one of the best shimmer formulas in my entire collection. I love her Zuma highlighter. It is so beautiful and golden on the cheeks. It's absolutely stunning. Her blushes, which she came out more recently, are so perfectly done. She came out with just two blushes, one that's a peach color and one that is a more pink color. I didn't bring the peach up. This one is the color Carmel. I also have Georgia, and I just feel like this is the perfect pink and Georgia is the perfect peach. As for their lip products, I'm a big fan of their liquid lipsticks, especially the shade Phoenix, my go-to red. And you guys know how much I love their glosses, especially this one right here, which is the color Honey. I'm just so impressed with their brand. Everything that I've tried from them, I don't think I could improve upon. I just think they're absolutely perfectly done and curated, and I love that they don't just overwhelm. Like, they take their time to come out with something good rather than coming out with just a lot of stuff, and that's something that I really admire. For the letter Q, I am cheating and plagiarizing Jen because I really tried to find something that even had the letter Q in it, and I absolutely could not find anything. So I picked Q-tips. That's what Jen picked, but I honestly do use these pretty much every single day in my makeup routine. Not a very exciting product, but I do use them all the time. And I'm also cheating because I'm pretty sure these are Equate brand and not Q-tip brand, but you know what I mean. For the letter R, I had to go with my Refer brushes. These have been knocking my socks off, you guys, and I will say they are very expensive, and if I'm perfectly honest, I think if these were not sent to me, which they were, they did send me these brushes, I don't know that I ever would have tried them, especially the face brushes, because there's just something inside of me that I have a hard time spending more than $25 on any brush. But if you are someone that appreciates a good quality brush and thinks of brushes as investments, because I do think that they can be, these are definitely worth looking into. Now, I do have plans to do a brush video for you guys in the upcoming month or two, sharing with you guys both my favorite high-end brushes and my favorite more affordable brushes. But probably I'd have to say, if I had to pick like a duo, like a dynamic duo of brushes for my eyes, I think I would go with these two right here, the number 16 brush and also the number 14 brush. This is basically like, it reminds me a lot of the Morphe M507, but it's natural hair. It's just a little bit better quality. It is so much softer. I mean, these brushes are just incredibly soft. They have saved my eyes on those days when I do more than one eye look. In that brush video, I'll give you guys some more details on them and let you guys know which ones I love and why, and which ones I think are worth the price. But as a whole, I think the Refer brushes are amazing. For the letter S, this one was easy. This is one of the first ones that I filled in on my letter sheet, and it's the Sydney Grace eyeshadow. oils. Another one of the best discoveries of 2020 for me. This specifically is their Enduring Love palette. I also have some singles from them. And by the way, I did recently, love when that happens. I did recently mention that I picked up some singles from them. They were missing some in the package. They were so quick to answer my email. The very next day they sent those shadows out to me. So very impressed with their customer service. So impressed with the quality of these. I just don't think that they can be beat in my collection. There's some things that are close, but this is definitely easily in my top 3 best eyeshadow formulas that I own. For the letter T, I went with my Tony Moly mascara because I have been raving about this mascara all year long. I still love it. This specific tube I probably should toss. I do have 3 backup tubes of this one. It's super affordable. If you can find this in stock, you can get this for between $3 and $5 on Yes Style or some other K-beauty websites, but I love it. It does amazing things for my lashes. It does have fibers in it. Sometimes this can get a little finicky and can kind of irritate my eyes a little bit if one of the fibers gets stuck in my eye, but that rarely happens for me. And this just gives my lashes such great volume and length, and it lifts them at like straight up attention, which I absolutely love. There's something special about this mascara formula for me. I just love it. And for how affordable it is, I think it's incredible. For the letter U, I have another double letter. The Ulta Ultra Slim Brow Pencil. 2 more points. I love this pencil. One of you recommended this pencil to me last year, and I have been using this probably more than any other brow pencil in my collection ever since. I have 5 of these on backup now. My color is Ash Taupe. This is just a very well done slim brow pencil. It's also very well made. Here's another issue that I have with affordable brow pencils. So often something in the packaging goes wrong. So maybe like the little thing here cracks and the spoolie comes off, or the lid gets loose. This specific pencil, it's got to be about gone now because I've been using, yeah, it's about gone. I've been using this specific one for probably about 4 or 5 months, and I've had no issues with the packaging. It's incredible. They are $10 if you don't buy them on sale, but Ulta often does sales on these. I have found these for buy one, get one free. So at $5, I think these are totally worth it. For the letter V, I went with the Volume Stylist mascara. This is another mascara that I've been raving about for well over a year, but I've especially been loving this lately as I've discovered how well this holds up to watery eyes. I have another mascara that I didn't mention today because it's very new to me, but the Thrive Cosmetics mascara is also incredible for watery eyes. But this one's been a longer standing favorite for me, and it's so affordable. I mean, the Thrive Cosmetics mascara is much more expensive. I think it's like $28 or $30. This one is only $5, which you just cannot beat that price. If you don't mind using a makeup remover at night, you need something that's long wearing, that gives you good volume and length, this is a fantastic one. For W, of course, I had to go with my Wet n Wild Sima Brown Now Kohl pencil. Do I need to say anything about this pencil? No, I probably don't. It's amazing, 99 cents, one of the only pencils I ever use. For the letter X, I have a bit of a stretch once again. I mean, a very long stretch. I could not find anything in my collection that started with the letter X, either in the brand or the name. So I went with the NYX Butter Gloss because it ends in an X. I know, shame me down below, but I will just say this is such a great lip gloss. I have talked about it in many a favorite video, and there is a reason that people continue to rave about this gloss. I just don't think you can beat this at the drugstore. Price, how much product you get inside here, the color range, it's just incredible. For the letter Y, this one is a bit of a stretch as well, but I went with, this is from It Cosmetics, but it's the Your Skin But Better CC Cream. Did you guys even know that was part of the title? Whenever I'm announcing this product, I never use that part of the title, but that is what it starts with. So it does technically start with a Y. I love this stuff. It is so great for my dry skin. I've talked about this a lot on my channel as well. It is one of the few high-end foundations that I actually keep on backup. So when I start to run out, I make sure I purchase another one. And while I don't use it every day because I don't like to use expensive foundations on a daily basis, I do love this for those days that I may be just going out for a lunch date or something where I want my skin to look amazing for like 6 hours. Now, if you need something super long wearing and budge proof and you don't like something very glowy, this definitely will not be the foundation for you, but for my dry skin, this looks amazing on me. We are down to the last letter, letter Z, and for Z, I ended up going with the Zodiac palettes from BH Cosmetics. I was about to pick BH Cosmetics eyeshadows as an eyeshadow brand for the letter B, but I decided to stick with the Zodiac palettes because I just think these palettes are so fun. I think the formula is really nice and it's actually quite unique. Sorry if my frame shifted, my battery just died. But if you are someone that has more mature eyelids and you find that some shimmers that can be really thick or flaky or creamy or chunky can emphasize texture on your eyelids, you might really enjoy these shimmers inside here because they are a baked formula. They're quite thin, but I wouldn't say that they're sheer. They're very reflective, and when you use these with either a wet brush brush or a wet finger, which I love to spray the back of my hand with a bit of setting spray. Tap my finger into that setting spray so it gets a little bit damp, and then rub it onto the shimmer. And you guys, I am telling you, you get this incredibly foiled, beautiful shimmer. This is just dry, but a beautiful shimmer that is not chunky. It's just a little bit more refined than some other shimmers out there, but it's equally as reflective. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but there's just something special about this formula. Now these palettes are, I grant you, maybe obnoxiously large, but I love the color selection that you get in both of these. If you like a lot of purples and more cool tones, I would go with the original Zodiac. But if you like a lot of peaches and pinks and warm tones, I think that you would absolutely love the Love Signs palette. I love them both. I think they are both so fun to play with. The mattes are a really good formula as well. I think these are just kind of an underrated product from BH Cosmetics. I think they're great. And with that, you guys, that is it for the alphabet makeup tag today. These are all some of my top favorite products from A to Z. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully it was interesting for you. I know if you've been with me for a while, a lot of these were probably not a huge surprise to you, or maybe you've heard me talk about them several times before, but this was just a really fun way to share with you guys things that I'm either currently loving or formulas that I think are special for certain reasons. Just a good overall review of some of my very favorite things, older and newer. So hopefully this was fun for you guys. I had so much fun filming it. It was definitely challenging coming up with all of these and deciding between some different things. Thank you guys again for stopping by today. I hope that you guys will stick around, hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on the rest of my full month of nothing new. I hope that you are all doing well. Have a good one, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye. Oh, come on, Mandy. Fix your bun. Work, but it's gonna have to do. Also, for the double C, do I get double points? I really did feel like picking out this makeup. I was playing categories. Do you guys, have you ever played categories? Candid concealer, 2 points. There, oh my gosh, I totally just got to do that. I've had this for like a year. Thumbnail filming. Any other YouTubers out there? One of the cringiest things that we do as a YouTuber. Talking to yourself seems a little cringy, but cheesing at the camera alone in a room, there's nothing that beats that, right?